So welcome to it. It's Women with Purpose. It's a show that is designed just for you, for us to have real conversations of on a day-to-day basis as women. And I always advise that how do we navigate the dating world, particularly from a church perspective and our faith, and making sure that we have great intentions when going into relationships. Ladies, you guys were flagging all over the place.
Yes.
Yeah. Really busy, mom. Live flagger. And I almost want us to get into a conversation about the one. I think what makes dating, whether it's within the church or outside of the church, really, really difficult because you're on the quest for this one person. I think it's almost like solving for X. You can't, you know what I mean? You've got to solve it, right? So when we say the one, what does the one mean to you guys? Are you waiting for a one? Who's the one?
I think there is the one for me.
Okay.
And for me, I believe that, well, I still believe in the Adam and Eve kind of love where there is someone that was created for me.
Who's suitable for you? Who you feel that would fit into what it is that you... And I think that also just goes with knowing yourself to say, there are good men out there, but not all of them will be suitable for me.
Yeah.
Right? Banyana, what do you, when you hear the one, what comes to mind?
Sheesh. A whole lot of pressure, I have to say. Just because of how, when you exist in the church, in a way, a huge cohort of us are expected to sort of fall into marriage or eventually sort of like take that trajectory. But I think that's when then the pressure dawns on you and you probably then stumble into things or relationships that you probably have no business being in. So, I mean, idealistically, I think I do believe in the fact that God can create a match. God can create two people that are meant for a particular purpose to exist in that way as a unit. But I also think that a lot of how we sort of navigate that space is very individualistic and sort of almost outcasts God. Like it almost doesn't involve him. Because we're so keen on stepping into these relationships, we're so keen on the romantic story. There's also pressure from home or whatever it is. And when you're dealing with all of those components, and the fact that, you know, you have to add God into it, you're just like, you know, like God will meet me on the way. I don't know what it is.
Fix him, Lord.
Exactly. Like God will just like come. But I think that's when, you know, we tie ourselves into things that are really, really tricky. So I think navigating that whole sort of dating space is tough. It's tough as a person who exists in the flesh and a carnal sort of a positioning, but also trying to match that with your spiritual life or actually having that as a fundamental aspect. But I also think that it really, at the heart of it all, it has to do with working on this human being and your direct relationship with God. Then sort of almost things kind of fall into place.
I don't know if you guys played that game. Ooh, audience link to saying have ne le bapala bana ola bona bo se ba bua sekgowa. Hantse re tla go hola o jola le Thabo. O no nka le bitso la Thabo o le ngole o re Thabo loves rorisang. Then you start la tseba nkosi yam khale le ratana lona ebe wa crossa lala wa crossa 80% o re love of my life. Love of my life. It is done. You know, are we almost playing with the idea of soulmates and perfect matches like we used to do as kids with that cross game? Let me come to you, Pindile. Do we have the same? It's just a little bit more mature.
You know, I think for me it's different because I have been married before, right? And I think I waited for the one for a very long time, right? And I think even after marriage, after I got through my divorce, then it was like, I'm gonna find the right guy afterwards. But now I'm at a point where I'm like, I just want a man that's gonna make me feel good, and I just want to be good to that man. And are we compatible? I'm looking at things like that.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for, I think, because we tend to confuse the one with perfection as women, and there isn't a perfect human being. So I think I'm now more at a realistic phase in my life where I'm like, as long as I'm with a person who makes me feel good at that point in time, I'm not even thinking if we're still going to be together tomorrow, because you don't know. You can think somebody's the one, this person is perfect, and then tomorrow you're no longer together. So for me, it's just me even saying to God that, you know what, God, I'm happy with this person today, and I can only hope that tomorrow will be happy as well.
I love that, because that shows the shift of, I mean, particularly as women writing Thabo Loves Rorisang, to looking for a boyfriend, to dating and going, oh, as long as he's got a car and he's like, to getting to a place like, babes, are we compatible? Do we have conversations? Do I want to see your face? Do I like you? Do you know, like, oh, vibe yak or not? And I guess over time, the one checklist changes,
absolutely,
because we're also growing in our own spaces.